Opening restrictions have taken a sledgehammer to the state's economy.
Governor Mike DeWine was in Lordstown today ahead of tomorrow's big unveiling of Lordstown Motors' first ever electric truck. We'll show you.
COVID case surge. We talk live with a virologist about why more than half of the states are seeing a huge spike and what you should keep in mind as we head toward the 4th of July holiday. Plus, will you travel this summer? Your chance to weigh in as the government considers giving Americans a $4,000 travel incentive.
It's just one of those things you're going to have a healthy respect and a little bit of caution towards, because it can happen to anybody. It's not just like anything else. It only takes a blink of an eye and it could be you.
DIY fireworks danger. If you think you're hearing more booms in your neighborhood, you're not alone. We have some safety advice ahead of the 4th of July holiday. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Yes, it is. Hello again, and come on into What's New. Welcome to our midweek edition of What's New, or as I like to say, we're halfway to Friday.
We are, definitely.
We're over the hump for the most part. Thank you so much for joining us here in the WKYC studios. I'm Jay Crawford, alongside but separated from Betsy Kling.
High five.
High five, air high five. Good to see you, Betsy.
Good to see you, too.
Well, we're going to start today, as we do every day, and that's by taking a look at the latest coronavirus numbers here in Ohio. And the trend continues, Betsy, to go in the wrong direction. The state announcing 632 new cases in the last 24-hour reporting window, and that is an increase of 7% from yesterday's total, which was 590. The death toll increased by 20 in the last reporting period, which is actually a drop of more than a third from yesterday's death toll.
Well, while we are seeing a spike in cases, Dr. Amy Acton, the former director of the Ohio Health Department, and other officials are finding themselves now at the center of a lawsuit. This one is a class action lawsuit filed by dance studios. Brandon Simmons standing by now, joining us live to explain what is going on with this one, Brandon.
Yeah, hi, Betsy. A number of people have filed lawsuits against the state and other health officials throughout this pandemic because of businesses who were pretty much forced to close. And this one is just the latest filed in Lake County Court of Common Pleas. Now, listed on this class action lawsuit are 9 dance studios and a long list of government officials and agencies responsible for closing them back in March. Now, what they argue is that Dr. Amy Acton, health director at the time, overstepped her authority by issuing orders to close some businesses while others, like big box retailers, remained open and were considered essential. Now, the owner of Rhythm and Grace Dance Studios helped spearhead this lawsuit and says he was forced to drain his savings account to cover the costs of keeping his business alive. And what's worse, he says businesses are still being destroyed by new rules and regulations in place today.
We're not open. We're actually 50% limited. For studios that deal with volume, particularly amongst studios that deal with children, that affects them tremendously. It became more and more obvious the potential of losing the thing that I have created for 33 years.
Now, Angel Criado specializes in ballroom dance and says he believes he'll be able to generate enough business to stick around long term, but he fears that's not true of others in the industry, which is why he felt this lawsuit was necessary. Now, in this lawsuit, you'll see that they're asking for the orders issued under Dr. Acton and the ongoing orders be considered null and void, and they're also looking for compensation for the time when they were closed, hoping to keep their businesses alive a little bit longer, Betsy.
All right, Brandon, the reopening continues, but not without some glitches, certainly. Thank you. Jay?
All right, Betsy, first up on our feed at 5, Governor Mike DeWine was in Lordstown today ahead of the big unveiling tomorrow of the next generation of Ohio-built trucks. This is pretty big. Will Ewick was also there today to see what's new for Ohio's auto industry.
It's a big week for Lordstown Motors as they unveil their all-new electric truck. Governor Mike DeWine and Lieutenant Governor John Husted got a behind-the-scenes tour today with Vice President Mike Pence coming in tomorrow for the official unveiling. Lordstown Motors took over the plant late last year after GM shut it down, bringing on workers to produce the all-electric truck, the Endurance. The Lordstown Motors site boasts the truck as having the fewest moving parts of any vehicle, which they say will lead to lower maintenance and ownership cost. They're taking pre-orders now, listing the base model at around $52,000. After touring the plant, Governor DeWine said it's a great day for the Mahoning Valley.
Exciting day for the state of Ohio. We just got a good look at the future. And I think when you see the pickup truck tomorrow, everyone's going to be very, very excited about it. I know we're very excited.
I also asked Governor DeWine about the plan to maybe add more charging stations to the state since this is an all-electric truck. He said that's something they're currently working on with the Ohio Department of Transportation and other organizations. The governor also asked about possibly campaigning for President Trump and whether or not he's surprised that Ohio is viewed as a toss-up state. We'll have much more from his visit here in Lordstown coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, in Lordstown, Will Ewick, 3 News.
All right, Will, thank you very much. Effective tease. I'm anxious to see and hear what the governor had to say about those last topics. Betsy, one thing that's really cool, and when we get a real good look at this truck tomorrow, I want folks to focus on the front of the truck. You'll notice there's a huge difference. It doesn't have that big wide open air grill.
Doesn't need it.
That's because you don't need it. There's not a ton of heat going on underneath that hood. That's because obviously it's not a combustible engine. It is electric. The battery still needs some cooling, but they don't need as much cooling, so those grates and those vents don't need to be as big. You mentioned this when we were looking at it for the first time. It's a cool look. I think it's futuristic, and it has a little bit of a militaristic feel to it, too.
It does. It's a pretty hot-looking truck. It's a pickup, so you can throw your stuff in the back, keep on rolling with the family. And you don't have to stop at the gas station except to get a Slurpee or two.
It's great news for the state of Ohio. We're keeping our fingers crossed that this thing catches on. It'll be great.
We are. All right. Thanks, Jay. Well, we are still in the first wave of COVID-19, and as states open, many are dealing with a spike in cases. So what does this actually mean? NBC News science contributor Dr. Joseph Fair joins us live now from New Orleans. And Dr. Fair, hotspots are shifting south and west. Can you explain what this shift means?
Well, those are the states that opened up earlier, and a lot of those states had much more relaxed conditions than, say, we saw in like New York or, say, Washington State, for example, where the conditions were a lot more stringent and the lockdowns were a lot more stringent. So you've seen a lot of reduction in the Northeast and the Northwest, whereas, as you mentioned, there are spikes there. So there's that. There's people getting out, and we are opening back up. A lot of these places are in phase 2, some of them even in phase 3. And so the businesses are opening up, and we expected some kind of spike there. And then lastly, I'll say people had quarantine fatigue, they have coronavirus fatigue, and so they're stopping doing things that, are very basic that we've been talking about for months. The social distancing, even if you're going to go to a business, maintain a distance, wear a mask. Just protect yourself as best you can if you are going to go out, and eventually we all will have to go out.
Well, as you put on your virologist or epidemiologist badge, what do you see coming our way? What is next in the next few months?
Well, initially when we first learned about this virus, we hoped it would follow the trend that we see with a lot of other coronavirus. Now, you probably remember us talking about a presumed dip in the summer, just like we see with cold and flu. We have not seen that at all. In fact, we've seen just kind of a steady rise in cases, so much so that, we're now at the greatest number of cases per day reported to the World Health Organization. So we're seeing a dramatic increase where we thought we might have some, reprieve in the summer. So I think that we could see potentially a lot more deaths in the United States, seeing the trends that we are. We're certainly going to see a lot more cases. I think we'll see a lot more variety in things like Kawasaki syndromes and other things that we didn't know about before associated with COVID-19, just to name a few.
Well, as a doctor, certainly you have one perspective on this whole virus and the outbreak and the pandemic, but you turned the tables on yourself and you became a patient as well. You had COVID-19 last month. So what was that experience like? Everybody's a little bit different, but more importantly, how are you feeling now?
Yeah. I feel great now. I feel fine now. I'm about 5 weeks out from when I was hospitalized. I will say that, the 7 days prior to going into the hospital was some of the most ill I've ever been in my life. And I've had malaria, 3 times, of course, with treatment, but still the worst I've ever felt. And then, obviously not being able to breathe is a really panic-inducing experience. So, that was frightening. Otherwise I'm good, but it was a frightening experience to say the least.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are thrilled that you are feeling good. Thank you so much for taking time to answer our questions up here in Cleveland. Stay safe, stay healthy, and no more malaria, dude. 3 times is enough, okay?
You got it. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. You betcha. I'll tell you what, summer is a busy time for travel, but not everyone is hitting the road this summer. So today's question of the day, Jay, how do you plan on traveling this summer? Are you going to go by car, plane, or you're not going to do it at all? Now, while you vote, there is new legislation to encourage Americans to get to traveling. It's called the American Tax Rebate and Incentive Program Act. It would provide tax credits to travelers who spend money on lodging, entertainment, and other expenses. Now, get this. If it passes, it would provide a $4,000 tax credit for individuals, $8,000 for joint filers, and $500 for kids. This would go through January of 2022. So not just for 2020, but also 2021. Jay, there is a catch. Your destination has to be more than 50 miles from your house. I think there's a lot of people that are like 2 thumbs up on that. What do you think? Are you going to travel now, later? Any ideas?
I don't have any plans to travel, number one. Number two, we just had the doctor on, and we just heard him say that we had our highest number of cases reported today in the United States, today. So it blows my mind that when this was ramping up, we were in shut everything down mode. There's no travel, there's no nothing. And now there's a possibility that we're encouraging travel as cases are on the rise and higher than they've been at any point. I'm very confused. All kinds of mixed messages.
Well, one of the good things is to remember that incentive would go all the way through 2021.
Which is great.
We're expecting vaccine, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed, at the start of the year. So maybe that would provide folks with that ability to make up losses that have been very hard hit in the travel and tourism industry.
Yeah, I get that they want to bring these businesses back, no question. I just don't know that we want to do anything right now that wants to encourage people to get on airplanes or get in cars and take long trips. For what it's worth. Okay, Betsy, off the table for Americans that are looking to travel may be trips to Europe. That's because the European Union is considering an action that would ban travelers from coming in. As the EU prepares to reopen its borders for international travel, it wants to block visitors from countries with high outbreaks, and that would certainly include the United States. The calculation they're using is based on infection rates, and it is clearly a higher infection rate here in the United States right now than is going on in Europe. A decision is expected next week, and if passed, they're basically going to leave these decisions up to the individual European nations. So if they choose to ban travelers from countries with high infection rates, they can do that. In the meantime, let's take a look back at our question of the day. We're asking you how you plan to travel, by car, by plane, or not at all. And as I glance at the screen, I see that not traveling, Betsy, is overwhelmingly out in front.
Right.
That doesn't surprise me at all. It seems to go along with every other poll that we do. You're going to go to the movies or not? The vast majority say, no, we're good. Same thing here. Staycations do have a good ring to them. You actually get stuff done. It's not the same, but you get stuff done. Definitely not the same.
Right. All right, let's keep moving on because there is more headlines happening in the news right now. We turn things over to Russ Mitchell over there. Hey, Russ, what's new?
Hey, Betsy, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you too, Jay. Good afternoon, everybody. A federal appeals court has ordered to dismiss the case against President Trump's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. The former Army general pleaded guilty in 2017 to lying to the FBI about his contact with the former Russian ambassador. He later backtracked, saying investigators entrapped him into making false statements. Pharma giant Bayer will pay almost $11 billion to settle a lawsuit over weed killer Roundup. Bayer brand Monsanto makes the herbicide that numerous lawsuits claim causes cancer. This comes 2 years after Bayer bought Monsanto, the agriculture company that previously lost a lawsuit brought by a school groundskeeper who claimed the weed killer causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And months after well-known Cleveland chef Jonathan Sawyer closed his local restaurants and filed for bankruptcy, he has got a new job. Sawyer will become the new chef at the Four Seasons Hotel in Chicago. The James Beard award-winning chef was known in Cleveland for popular restaurants like Greenleaf Tavern and Noodle Cat. And it's really too bad that he's left town, because a wonderful chef, wonderful guy, did a lot for the city. Hopefully he'll be back someday.
Definitely, and he's, I mean, just such a talented chef, so
Yeah.
Chicago got a good one on that one. Thanks, Russ.
Yeah.
Well, coming up at 7 tonight here on 3 News, it's a special edition of Front Row. We're going to continue to look at the turning point our nation is facing and the steps people in Northeast Ohio are taking to bring about change. Join us for this important conversation tonight at 7 on Front Row Special Edition.
Well, coming up next on What's New, one of Northeast Ohio's drive-in theaters is getting recognized for all the money it raked in this weekend. One of the biggest pulls in the country. How much did they make and which flicks were they showing? We have the details.
And how will the MLB's return affect Francisco Lindor's future with the Indians? We'll break it down for you coming up in Clicking in Cleveland. All right, Matt, I got to tell you, we're seeing sunshine out there. How's the weather looking?
Hi, Betsy. A beautiful Wednesday shaping up across Northeast Ohio. We have a little bit of sunshine, some of those puffy clouds as well. The story from here turns towards the heat. We'll talk about how hot we're going to get over the next 7 days coming up.
Welcome back to What's New. This is a great story. I love it because it reminds me of when I was a kid. A local drive-in movie theater is getting some national attention. That's because, according to Deadline.com, the Autorama, and I'm sure most of you have been by it many times in North Ridgeville, was the 4th top grossing cinema in the entire United States last week. It was 5th if you throw in Canada. It pulled in just over $60,000 for the week. What was everyone driving in to see, Betsy, you asked?
Right.
Jurassic Park and Jaws were 2 of the 4 films that were showing.
Yep.
Both are classics, and if you think about it, both are great drive-in movie theater movies. They have that share feel
Jurassic
to them.
Park.
Oh my good! I'm sure everybody was looking in their rearview mirror.
Right?
While those were a big reason for the big crowds, Shrek and Despicable Me, Despicable Me were the other movies showing on the other screen there. Betsy, I love Jaws, I love Jurassic Park, and I do think the scare factor, just being outside, those two movies being on, that would work for me.
I think the whole thing would be to have the cup of water ready to go. So when you get to that part of the movie and the kids are sitting there like this, you hit something and it does that. And it's real.
That will get you, for sure.
It will.
Okay, we got Matt coming up with weather.
Yes, we do. You know what today is?
Today, I do. It's a big day.
It's a big, big day. It's Matt's birthday. Hey!
Yay! Yay!
He seems thrilled, Betsy.
Yeah.
What, you're 25 now, right?
Yeah, Betsy and Jay, from a meteorological perspective, I'm no longer mid-30s. Let's just say that. We're now upper 30s. So that's,
okay.
I'm not too thrilled.
Well, you know what? It gives you more wisdom, so just run with that. I've been doing that for 20 years, Matt.
Sure.
I just play the wisdom card. Hey, you get a weather word today, and I want to go back to our drive-in story. This is very tough. Betsy, I'm curious to see how he works this word in. Nostalgia.
You're mean.
That is mean. I'm sorry, Matt. It's his
Good luck
birthday
with
and
that,
everything.
Wins.
That's okay. I'll try to focus more on that, fitting that word into my forecast than the
of course,
actual
now that you're
meteorological
older,
perspective of the.
Nostalgia should kick in. See?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for using it already, Betsy. I'm done. All right. All right. Guys, the sunset, I know we've all noticed it's gotten later, and we all know the longest day of daylight is the summer solstice, obviously. But our sunsets are actually the latest right now, and that goes over the next 9 evenings. So our sunset is at 9:04, 9:05, depending on how much you round, but we'll go 9:04 the next 9 nights. It's a sunrise that's starting to get a little bit later. And yeah, we're losing a couple seconds every single day of daylight as of right now. But enjoy those late evenings, especially over the next week. This is as late as it gets. We had those daytime puffy clouds. Boy, were they pretty to look at as you were going around northeast Ohio this afternoon. A couple showers down towards Tuscarawas County. That is all these things have squeezed out in the dry air. You can see that area of low pressure rotating off towards the north. That will bring more puffy clouds and a better chance of perhaps some downpours tomorrow afternoon as a little stronger disturbance heads through northeast Ohio. Temps right now, though, boy, these are comfortable. It was a beautiful day and a beautiful evening shaping up. We're in the 70s area wide. We've got a nice breeze out of the west, and that dew point is very manageable. In the 50s, that is air you can barely feel, and we're not alone. All the way down to the Tennessee Valley, we've got this comfortable air, but that humidity will return later on this week. Your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. You can see tonight, we've got mainly clear skies, a little touch of nostalgia if you're heading out to your ice cream shop or perhaps taking a little walk down the street with the old radio flyer. You'll be in good shape tonight. Tomorrow morning we'll start with sunshine, but watch what happens. More of the same. Those clouds will bubble up, and yeah, we will have a couple downpours across the area, perhaps a rumble of thunder or two. I think that'll be pretty hard to come by in our dry air mass, and then it all goes away tomorrow night. Temperatures very similar tomorrow to what they are today. Bless you, Emmy. The muggy meter looks like this, though. That humidity ramps up Friday into Saturday, and that will trigger some showers and thunderstorms around here for your weekend. A quick look at our Saharan dust layer. It is now in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. It's going to head north. Some great sunsets across the southeast over the next couple days. For us, maybe Sunday we might have a little dust in the air, but overall we're going to have rain that'll likely wash that out. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. There's our quick rise in temps on Friday. Storms likely on Saturday. Sunday some lingering rain, and then next week shaping up to be dry at this point and hot as temperatures will return to near 90 degrees. We'll send it back to you two in the studio.
All right. Love the radio flyer mention.
Absolutely.
That was very well done. Very well done. Matt, we'll see you in the next half hour. Next on What's New, what does the shortened season mean for Frankie Lindor's future with our Cleveland Indians? Steph is next to break it all down in Clicking in Cleveland.
Okay. hear the music and you know it's time to see what is clicking in Cleveland with our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney, back in action. And Stephanie, what is our guy, Frankie Lindor, doing? I know this team is raring to play, but, you know, Frankie's kind of a big deal for us.
He is kind of a big deal, Betsy. You know, this shortened Major League Baseball season will mean a lot of different things for a lot of different players, and that includes our star shortstop, Francisco Lindor. So the Cleveland Indians were hoping to get about 4 months of play before the trade deadline when they had to decide whether to keep Lindor for a possible playoff run. Now they'll get about 5 weeks, so this shortened timetable may make it less likely that they try to trade him away before the 2021 offseason. So even if we have him on the field for less time, we'll probably get at least one more full season with Lindor at shortstop. We'll know for sure by August 31st, which is the new trade deadline under the 60-game timetable. One thing we do know today is a little bit more about where we stand here in Ohio with our patriotism. That is thanks to a new study by Wallet Hub, which ranks the states by patriotism. That is based on military engagement and civic engagement. So the study used 13 factors to rank the states, including the average number of military enlistees, veterans living in the state, the volunteer rate, and percentage of people who voted in the 2016 election. So here's where we stack up. We just barely slid into the top 15, with number 1 being New Hampshire, number 2 being Wyoming, 3 being Idaho, and then Ohio came in at 14, just above Maine. We do love our country here in Northeast Ohio, and what we also love is our outdoor dining. So we put together a list for you of the best patios in the Cleveland area. So we're going to start with Willoughby. First up, check out this gorgeous terrace. This is a patio at the Brim Kitchen and Brewery. What's better than that? The fact that they have bottomless mimosas on Saturday and Sundays for $15. Moving downtown, this one's pretty fancy. It's the Azure Rooftop Lounge at the Metropolitan 9. That's on East 9th. You can see the football stadium from the rooftop, and you can get bottle service there. And last up in Ohio City for food and drinks and music, you can hit up the Harp on Detroit Avenue. By the way, if you're looking for a job, they are hiring for a full-time line cook. And if you are not yet ready for the patio, Betsy, check out our WKYC.com Love Local for everything that you can check out in your area that does not include being on a patio.
$15
and also patios
for bottomless mimosas. Come on.
That's the takeaway, yes.
You didn't have to say anything else. That's where my GPS is headed, and the Uber will get me home. All right, thanks a lot, Stephanie. Well, it's that time of the year that you want to start hearing fireworks around the neighborhood, right? Professional fireworks. It's a big difference, all right? Well, there's safety concerns this year because so many cities are canceling their professional displays. What you need to consider before you try and set off your own fireworks. And people are spending more time on their phones, their tablets, and computers because of the pandemic. We're going to help you get your kiddos' screen time back on track. And Miley Cyrus says she's living a sober lifestyle. We have all the details in today's Pop Break.
Hello, how are you? The only items that can be used in Ohio are designated trick and novelty, which smoke, pop, or sparkle. Currently, Ohioans may purchase consumer-grade fireworks. Am I there? Okay. that better? Yeah, my iPad makes me look like I'm way too left. It's weird. Tell Darlene.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
It is.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy
Hi, Beth.
Wednesday. Here we are halfway through the week once again. Thank goodness Jay is back in studio. It's just so nice to have humans around.
It feels kind of like normal, doesn't it?
It does, even though you're over there on your little dais, but that's okay. It's I know that's where you like to be.
I feel like I'm the judge and you're the witness. I don't like that you have to look up at me and I have to look down at you.
It was terrible.
Do you swear, Betsy, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing?
You betcha.
Very good. Okay. You know what time it is?
Yeah.
It is time to tell our viewers something good.
Yes, please do.
Betsy, 40 Cleveland Clinic caregivers returned home from helping out at a hospital in Abu Dhabi. They spent the last month there caring for extremely sick COVID-19 patients. Look at that hug. These hugs tell the whole story. These folks risked life and limb to go out there for a month and help where help was needed. They were met by friends and family at the airport, and What's New would like to extend a very hearty welcome home to everyone who made the trip. And we also say from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much for all of your hard work for helping those in need. Look at those pictures, Bets.
Right? That's beautiful. I love airport reunions.
I do too. I really do. You know, they kind of fell out of favor because now to get into where the gates are, you need a ticket.
Right.
Remember in the old days, you could just to go pick up somebody at the airport, you could come right to the gate and wait for them right there.
I kind of don't remember that.
You don't? Well, it was pre 9/11.
J-pop.
Jeez, Bets. Did you never travel until you were 40?
Yeah, well, kind of. Right. That means I've only been traveling for a year now. Right? Okay.
You are 41.
Yeah, again. All right, we got to keep moving. All right, today's top talker. This actually gets a lot of people talking. It's fireworks. 4th of July weekend is coming up very soon, and the best part about it, of course, is fireworks, besides the other stuff too. But hey, because of COVID-19, a lot of cities have decided just to flat out cancel their displays.
Yeah, and that's sad for a lot of folks. It has a lot of people running out to buy their own fireworks and do their own. And that, Betsy, as you know, is causing safety concerns. So here's our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, with what you need to think about before you set off your own 4th of July fireworks.
It happened in the blink of an eye. Josh Baker reached in to adjust a fireworks mortar as it exploded.
I looked down and I could see straight through my hand.
Josh lost his thumb and had surgery to attach his big toe to his hand, but he says it could have been much worse.
If I wouldn't have turned my head the right way, if I'd have been closer, I have no idea what could have happened, but I could have maybe not left the dock that day.
Emergency departments and surgeons brace for an increase in firework injuries around certain holidays, but with public displays being canceled because of the pandemic, medical experts are raising an alarm that injuries could spike because of people setting off their own.
Certainly you can get injury to the skin, injury to the soft tissue, injury to the bone, and they can just be very devastating injuries.
A new national survey by Orlando Health finds more than 2 in 5 Americans plan to buy their own fireworks this year, with 16% of them saying it's specifically due to COVID-19 cancellations. Experts say even seemingly harmless products like sparklers need to be used with caution and supervision.
They can actually reach temperatures of up to 2,000 degrees, which is enough to melt metal and certainly can melt your clothing, your skin, any other tissue like that.
Firecrackers, sparklers, and bottle rockets cause the most injuries, and boys are twice as likely as girls to be hurt. For Josh, it was a hard lesson, but one he'll never forget.
It's not worth going to check to see if it didn't go off or, whatever it is, it's not worth it.
No.
Well, as of earlier in the month, the House was they passed a bill that would allow people to set off consumer-grade fireworks here in the state of Ohio. It's a huge change to the law. But there has been more and more of a push now for folks to just, get out and buy them. Phantom fireworks are the places that you see all over the place. But Monica, what's the overall status of the legality of fireworks for consumers in Ohio?
Okay, as of now, the only items that can be used in Ohio are designated trick and novelty. That means they smoke, they pop, or they sparkle. And currently, Ohioans can purchase consumer-grade fireworks, but they're not allowed to possess or use them and still must get them out of state within 48 hours of purchase. Now, that includes firecrackers and bottle rockets. However, as you mentioned, 2 weeks ago, the Ohio House passed a bill that would allow the discharge of consumer-grade fireworks anytime, any day on private property, as long as the local jurisdiction didn't restrict it. But now it's in the Senate. And everybody, don't hold your breath because the governor already came out and said he totally opposes it. So we'll have to wait and see still.
Monica,
it really is.
Betsy and I are looking at each other like, wait.
You can buy them, but you can't set them off. And if you have them, you have to go out of state.
Yes, that's been the law. It's been crazy. And that's why the legislature has been trying to fix the law, but it's still,
By the
we'll
way,
have to wait and see what happens.
It's rarely, if ever, enforced. Last year on 4th of July, I was driving up 90 coming from Sandusky, and I had my own personal fireworks show all along 90 at the neighborhoods. Everybody was shooting them off. There you go.
Right. You are exactly right. Yeah, you can hear them out my window right now. So, yeah, it's not enforced.
Tell Deke to stop. He doesn't need to be an example for us.
Monica, thank you very much. we appreciate it. We definitely do. Yeah, we have some crazy fireworks laws, no doubt about it.
All right, well, let's see what else is making headlines with our Laura Queso over in the newsroom now. Hi there, Laura.
Hello there, Betsy. Well, let's get to it. Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson revealed today the financial cost of the protests and social unrest in Cleveland. In a city financial update today, he said the cost totaled more than $3 million. That number, Jackson says, was in overtime for public safety forces. I'm talking police, fire, and EMS. He says that the surge of spending is concerning here because it actually ate into more of the overtime budget than the city had planned for at this point in the year. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace said today that he's relieved he was not the target of a hate crime. However, on the Today Show this morning, he did say that the rope that had been hanging at that team garage was still a noose. Wallace also expressed frustration over the backlash to the FBI's findings. Some people, he said, are incorrectly claiming that Wallace himself was the one who reported the news, when in reality, he learned about it after one of his team members found it and then reported it to NASCAR. Well, somewhere, Paul Blart is probably rolling a tear right now. Yeah, Segway says it is discontinuing its famed Segway PT two-wheeled scooters. They've been a part of our pop culture for a good 2 decades now. Popular with tourists and police officers in some areas, they never quite caught on with the general public, in part because of some high-profile crashes and a high price tag to go with them. The product will officially be retired on July 15th, Betsy.
Laura, have you ever been on one of those Segways?
I haven't, and I'm so afraid. I don't have really great balance. Have you? I feel like you'd be very smooth on one.
I haven't. I've done scooters, but not the Segways.
Not that. Okay. So, well, they're retiring. We don't have time anyway.
That's right. Okay. Well, we're going to move on.
I was once involved in a Segway race.
Of course you were.
And I lost because I was afraid of tearing up my skin. There's the music. You know what it means. Time to get caught up on news from the world of entertainment. And to do that, here is our Stephanie Haney. Here's your Daily Pop Break.
Music superstar Miley Cyrus says she's been living a sober lifestyle and going to therapy in a new interview with Variety. She says her road to sobriety started after a vocal surgery late last year, and then she started digging into her family history. That's when she discovered addiction and mental health challenges on both sides of her family tree. Learning that helped her decide this is what's best for her, even if she has to deal with stigma that she is no fun anymore, an idea that she completely rejects. It turns out the internet's favorite Hollywood good guy Keanu Reeves stood up for co-star Winona Ryder during on-set harassment. Ryder says while filming for the 1992 Dracula movie, her director, Francis Ford Coppola, tried to get Reeves and other actors to join him in verbally abusing her on set to make her cry for a scene. In a recent interview, Ryder says that Reeves and Anthony Hopkins both refused to join in, and she and Reeves have been good friends ever since. And former Cosby Show and Disney Channel star Raven-Symoné and new wife Miranda Pierman-Midday are opening up for the first time to People magazine about their secret wedding a week and a half ago. They said they tried to keep the ceremony simple, dressing in Gucci jumpsuits they call their hype beast outfits instead of traditional wedding gowns and tuxedos. And despite being an hour late to their own wedding, that the day was absolutely perfect.
What do you think about that, Winston? Winston just had to be a part of this today, so you're all getting to say hello to Winston today. So, speaking of weddings, though, I gotta tell you, Winona Ryder has a very funny nickname for Keanu Reeves. She actually calls him husband because they were, I guess, probably married on the set of Dracula because they used a real priest in their character's wedding scene. What do you think about that, you guys?
I remember hearing about that at the times, and there was some question: are they really married because they used a real priest, not an actor, for that role? I don't know. I mean,
hope they have prenups.
Yeah, I do too. Well, it's Hollywood.
Hey, there
they
are
do.
worse people to be accidentally married to. They really are.
Yeah, and in both counts, you're absolutely right. All right, we love seeing your friend.
We do.
We love seeing him. He's just as gorgeous as ever. Steph, thanks. We will see you tomorrow.
And still ahead, urban birding. It's a new trend nationwide, but some Cleveland area kids are ahead of the game. We're going to tell you all about that.
And Matt's coming up. He's got to look at our weather. Hey, Matt.
Hi, Jay. The rain over the last couple days has really helped our butterfly garden. A lot of these plants now taller than river, believe it or not. We do have some more rain in the forecast. We'll talk about that and the heat coming up in the 7-day forecast after the break.
Well, I'm sure you remember this video, a confrontation caught on cell phone video in New York's Central Park. A white woman called police on a black man who was bird watching. It fueled outrage, but it also sparked a big interest in urban birding.
And Betsy, Cleveland is ahead of the curve in that department, thanks to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District's East Park School. For 2 years now, the school's bird nerds, as they call themselves, have been traveling all over our state, learning about nature and that birding is for everyone.
When you think of birders, what comes to mind? Probably not inner-city Cleveland middle school kids, but these youngsters from East Clark School are changing that. They're the bird nerds, and they know their stuff.
When people see us, they be asking us to identify some of the birds they be finding.
I am Richard Banish, and my bird friends call me Buster.
Mr. Banish leads the club made up of 6th through 8th graders.
I got some kids that are dedicated, they love birds, and we have fun.
I want to see what I can find.
Angela and Alicia are sisters. Both have been birding for 2 years. Angela's favorite bird is a Blackburnian warbler.
Birds, they are amazing to look at, like just to watch. It's pretty, they have the most beautiful colors in the world.
Birding can be an emotional experience. Sister Alicia recounts what happened one trip when she saw her favorite bird, the common yellowthroat.
When I saw the pictures, they were so pretty. Now if I see this bird, I know I'm gonna cry. And I saw it and I started crying.
It's something everyone should and can experience, no matter where you live.
That's what it's all about, you know, a kid made a connection, emotional connection to this little creature.
In Cleveland, Carl Bachtel, 3 News.
That is really cool, Betsy. Carl, thank you for that story. It's great to get in touch with the nature and all the beauty that it has. Betsy, before I came in today, standing back on my back deck, and I'm looking at my pileated. Now, oh, this happened so fast. The pileated woodpecker, which is a huge bird, is there on the bird feeder, and the mother of a red-bellied is going to come in and try to make some noise, and the pileated just lets her have it, and the feathers were flying.
Big meaning.
What was going on was the pileated was bothering the red-bellied baby, the red-bellied woodpecker baby. And the mother said, you know what, I'm not going to stand by and take that.
I'm going to have some words with that guy.
Mama's going to let you have it. But in the end, the pileated, I think he won the battle. But you never know what you're going to see when you're watching birds. It's a lot of fun.
You know what's interesting? Don't mess with mama is often something that Matt Wentz says.
He's smart.
Guys, I can't get over the fact that Jay's sitting watching birds and watching woodpeckers fight in his backyard. And I mean, they probably spent this whole day just watching that. Can I tell you guys a quick story?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and regardless, we're going to go super heavy here. My wife, she's been obsessed with trying to get these Orioles in our backyard. So she got an Oriole feeder. You have to change the jam, literally jelly, every single day. Yep. So she did it all last year. We had no Oriole. Mother's Day this year, wouldn't you know, we wake up and we had 4 Orioles out there. We had 2 guys and maybe, 2. I'm over-exaggerating. She says we had 2 on Mother's Day morning. So,
Matt,
Jay, you and my wife need to get together and watch birds.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
a quick tip. Take an orange, cut it in half, and put that on the feeder, and you'll have more Orioles than you know what to do with. I promise.
It tastes good.
Jay, it's already been done, and they're up mating in the tree now. We've got stuff all over our cars as a result. But hey, I just want to say a quick thank you for this is unbelievable technology nowadays. But this ice cream is from you guys at the station. I'm sure Betsy and Jay, I'm sure you will make up for that later. But I got to thank Monique for this. That is just been. I did. It just arrived.
Monique Zappa,
How
our
is it, Emmy? Is it
producer.
good?
She is amazing. So thoughtful. Look at that. Emmy getting in on there. We
Yeah,
saw the little arm pull in there
Yeah.
and get a scoop and go back out. But
She's staring at Matt's birthday ice cream, too. She wants some.
She's going to town for sure. All right. Well, thank goodness there's not much weather to talk about because I've got like 10 seconds left. But let's get to the forecast, shall we? And thank you, by the way, Monique and everyone at the station. I miss you guys big time. Temperatures right now are beautiful this afternoon. We're in the 70s area wide, low humidity, a decent breeze. It doesn't get much better than this in late June with humidity values that are well below the feeling category where you can actually feel that humidity. You can barely feel the air outside. All the thick, muggy stuff is well down to the south right now. Sorry, I'm smelling this ice cream and thinking about it. Daytime puffy clouds will continue across northeast Ohio. We've had a couple showers out of them down towards Tuscarawas and Carroll counties, but overall, they've been very quick and few and far between. And you can see that low pressure will continue to spin off toward north. And it will bring in another chance for rain tomorrow afternoon. And that daytime heating, you can see it here in your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. 50s tomorrow morning, another refreshing night tonight. Tomorrow we're going to start with sunshine, not a care in the world, but by afternoon we'll start to bubble up those clouds. And there's a little bit better chance tomorrow that we could spark a couple downpours out of those. Temperatures very similar to where we are today. By tomorrow night, you lose that daytime heating, you lose the clouds and the rainfall chances. The muggy meter, though, we're in the comfortable category through Friday, but Friday afternoon, Friday nights when that humidity is going to return. Saturday, we're back to the humid category, and that will spark showers and thunderstorms. So an early look at the weekend. You can see we're in the dry conditions through Friday for the most part, but here comes a front from the northwest that will likely string some storms together, not just Saturday, but fronts tend to linger this time of year, so we'll run the risk of some rain perhaps into your Sunday as well. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast with that increasing humidity is an increase in heat. We're up into the 80s over the course of the weekend with some humidity. Shower and thunderstorm chances should be confined to Saturday, Sunday, and next week at this point looking sunny and turning warmer outside. So guys, thank you again. It's been a wonderful birthday, and I'm about to dive in and then pass out, I think.
Can you actually see a screen, Matt? Like you can see what's over the air, because there's a really nifty graphic with confetti.
Oh, that's sweet. No, I can't see anything right now.
He's blinded by the ice cream. Well, Matt, trust me, you'll want to take a look at it when we're done, because graphics department made a beautiful little image of you looking, you know, studly standing there with the weather wall with your arms crossed and confetti's coming down. Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, my mom DVRs everything. I'll watch it at her house.
And you're losing your ice cream.
Yeah, get in there quick.
Yeah, real fast.
All right, thanks, Matt. Have a great evening. Well, still ahead, summertime can lead to a lot of screen time. Well, how to get your kids back on track if they've been spending too much time on their tablets.
All right, we want to go back to our question of the day, Betsy. It was, do you plan on traveling by car, by plane, or not traveling at all? And the numbers haven't changed much. Those that will travel, most of them say they'll do it by car. But again, the vast majority, almost 2 out of 3, say, nope, not going to do it, not yet, just isn't safe.
All right, well, as everybody is not traveling and staying home, we are going to continue with our Wellness Wednesday. Coronavirus really has changed how we operate. Parents are working from home, kids were learning from home. Trying to do all of that all at the same time, that's multitasking, and that's a lot to ask. So it's easy to just hand your kids a tablet to play games or watch movies to keep them occupied. If you're worried your kids are getting too much screen time, Dr. Emily Mudd, a pediatric psychologist with Cleveland Clinic Children's, says to cut yourself a break.
You know, if you are a parent that has had some lax on your screen time guidelines at home, just know that that's okay right now. There is a lot going on currently in the world, and you as a parent might even have the TV on more than usual. So have a little grace and have some forgiveness for yourself that right now there's a lot of pressure. So if your child is watching more TV than usual, then that's okay.
So data shows that viewing is up since before the coronavirus pandemic, but there is a way that parents can get back on track by planning when kids can and can't watch their favorite shows.
So in your schedule for the day, you know, I encourage patients or parents to schedule screen time and use that to your advantage. So if you are a parent and you're working from home and you know every day you have a meeting from 1 to 2 p.m., you can schedule screen time for your children at that time. So your children look forward to it. They're not craving it. They know that it's coming. And you as a parent also have that opportunity to have a break to get things done yourself. So we can really use it as a tool.
I have to tell you, that was a complete light bulb moment for me. I never thought of scheduling it, but it makes total sense. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends the following tips based on your child's age. Avoid screen time as best you can for toddlers younger than 18 to 24 months. Now, when it comes to kids between 2 and 5, limit their screen time to about an hour a day, and you can make sure it's educational. Some of the educational shows are ridiculously entertaining. We'll be right back.
Hi, Al. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay. Thank you. Can you tell me what those stories are? Okay.
We're out of time. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 5.
We will, but what matters most with Russ and Laura starts right now.